You join me, Mark Cole, back at Manicourt, where the 8th round of the Sports Racing World Cup is jutted ahead of them. 2.5 hours of racing of 3 pit stops. Maribaldi is immediately on the attack, harrying Pullman David Terrien, then John Nielsen and Werner Lutberger. Fine weather here in Manicourt as the field streams out to the Adelaide hairpin for the first time. And out there, Baldi's in front, while behind them, Marco Zadra goes down the inside of Filiberti for 5th place. Oh, they touch just then. Big lockups. That holds up the mid-pack. There's frantic lights action as well, with Peter Owen, Bruno Corradi and Herman Langferman all banging wheels. Owen is hoping that teammate Smithson will be able to drive. If not, the team's disqualification. String out already around the French Grand Prix circuit. Very, very technical, very smooth track as well. Baldi's still leading. Smooth track as well. Baldi's still leading in the Starlight Express R&M Riley and Scott. He's ahead of Terrien, Nielsen, Lutberger. Then a big gap to Marco Zadra, Filiberti, Alex Caffey and Angelo Zadra into the Lycée chicane. Well, Baldi's last 2 races ended with first lap off. This time he's making sure there's going to be no repetition. Down through the chicane into the Lycée last corner and across the start-finish line at the end of the first lap. Still Baldi, Terrien, Nielsen, Lutberger, Marco Zadra, Filiberti, Alex Caffey and Angelo Zadra. Well, the brave Dane Jason Watt, just there in the back of the picture, runner-up in the 1999 Formula 3000 Championship before a motorcycle accident left him paralysed, spins the Paynos at Grande Courbe. Oh, and he's collected in a big way by Salvatore Ronca in the Lucchini. There's a lot of damage to both cars. Ahead of them, race leader Baldi has a slim cushion over Terrien at Adelaide, while Filiberti's reclaimed 5th place from Zadra Jr. We're back at Grande Courbe. Marshals are clearing the debris from the Watt-Ronca crash. Spa winner Salvatore looks on forlornly. The mid-season lights points leader now has 3 successive non-finishes. Owen and Corradi have been joined in their now 3rd place lights battle by Raineri Randaccio in the yellow SCI Lucchini. Great fighting throughout the field here, particularly among these lights. And the 5th place battle overall is continuing between Filiberti and Zadra. Identical spec Ferraris, it's just all in the preparation. We're back in lights. Mike Millard, we just saw on the Rapier 6, has 2nd place ahead of this 3rd place squabble. But for Jason Watt, it looks like the race could be over already. The Dane is crawling back in. Exemplar Avis minus its nose as the race leaders sweep past. He makes room and lets the field by. Still running though, which is more than could be said for poor Salvatore Ronca. Well, the lights fights are still going on throughout the field. Just another day at the office for these guys. Roston, Raimondi and Linos are all in there battling for 6th place. There's the black Payar squared Bruno Debra leading the 2nd bunch. But for Terrien, on his home circuit where he won the 1996 French Formula Ford Championship 3 years after becoming World Karting Champion, he's really pressing Baldi now. Baldi in the R&M Riley and Scott Judd. Terrien in the Ferrari V12. Oh, what makes the pits? Followed in by Linos, whose Tampoli's got an engine problem. In they come. As Raffaele Tampoli talks to his driver about his problem, the Dave Price Racing crew set about trying to repair what's damaged. Back to the leaders then. Baldi clearly quicker on the straights with his Judd V10 power. Nielsen in third. And Lutberger fourth as they pass Ronkers, still beat Lucchini. For the experienced 46-year-old Baldi, 1994 Le Mans 24 Hours winner for Dower Porsche, and the 1998 Daytona 24 Hours and Sebring 12 Hours winner for Momo Ferrari, is still fending off the 23-year-old World Cup rookie, who nonetheless has still become champion in his first year. Also looks like being the last year for factory support for the Ferrari 333 SP, coming to the end of its 6-year competition life. And there's a new nose for Jason Watt, with a new underbody as well. He's going to rejoin, but he'll be 8 laps down on the rest of the field by the time he gets out again. Terrien just 2 car lengths behind Baldi, looking to strike in the V12 powered Ferrari 333 SP. The last year that GMB will be running in the championship. They're going to be racing the 360 Maranello next year in the FI GT series. Great lead battle going on then. Shades of Schumacher and Häkkinen here at Manicourt in the Sports Racing World Cup. And behind them, Nielsen still third in the rumbling Ford V8 Paynos, Lutberger in the beautiful Judd V10 Ascari, and 23 Marco Zadra in the Red Bull BMS Scuderia Italia Ferrari, second in Donington, and Nürburgring with Philip Pater now has caught up with that group. Monza winner Baldi leading Terrien, who's had wins in Barcelona, first race of the year, and then back-to-back at Brno, Donington and Nürburgring, the last 3 races. There's that third place train again, with Marco Zadra having a little look down the inside of Lutberger. But there's problems out on the circuit now for Tampoli Ferrari. Gianluca Girardi has pulled off the edge of the track. He has got a broken wheel hub. That's ended his race. And his British co-driver John Burton, like Smithson, also had food poisoning last night and was not fit to drive. So that problem, at least, is resolved. David Terrien in the Geyser car going past Girardi's stranded Ferrari. Oh, and Marco Zadra on attack again, looking to pass Lutberger at Chateau d'Eau. Well, it's close racing throughout the top 10 this afternoon in the first dry European race since this year's Barcelona opener. Great battling. But still the retirements come. Alex Caffey's next out with power steering failure in his Conrad O'Reilly and Scott Marder after just 11 laps. Felice Tedeschi doesn't even get to drive. Randacci's on a charge too, taking Owen for light third as the overall race leaders prepare to lap them. While further back, Nielsen, Lutberger and Zadra are joined by Filiberti now in the third place battle. Millard's Rapier 6 lets them all through at Adelaide as we find Caffey in the pit lane.
Okay, Alex Caffey, not a very good return to the Sports Racing World Cup for you, just lasting a couple of laps. What happened there?
The main problem was power steering. We lost oil from the power steering, so it was impossible to drive a car, and I had oil everywhere inside the cockpit, so I mean, I had to retire the car.
Well, back down to Adelaide, where Watt is about to be lapped as Filiberti dives inside Zadra for 5th place, and he takes it. Almost takes Lutberger as well. Nielsen had dropped from 3rd to 6th when he had a grassy moment, but he takes 5th back from Zadra on the exit. So big changes there in the 3rd place battle. Watt 8 laps down. Lutberger, Filiberti, Nielsen and Zadra. That's the order there. Oh, big lock-up. by the Ferrari. Luke Berger laps Watt, who unwittingly blocks Filiberti at Lycée. Watt is still a mean racer, and he is not giving way to anybody, despite being lapped. Baldi and Terrien still tied together through Grande Courbe, out into the country in that long, long haul up to Adelaide, where Jacques Villeneuve had that spectacular crash in the Williams 3 years ago. Baldi is now coming up against more back marker traffic. And he momentarily gets slowed by former AGS Formula One driver Pascal Fabre in the Didier Bonnet Deborah BMW. Fabre runs exceeding wide to get out of his way. Well, the fuel window just starting to open, and Marco Zadra is the first to stop for fuel. He's pretty early, he's just before the 14-minute mark, but he stays on board and stays on his Pirelli tyres. But then on the track, disaster for Baldi. The race-long leader is crawling through Chateau d'Eau. He's got another technical problem for the Starlight, Riley and Scott. David Terrien is now leading on his home circuit. So the whole race complexion changes. After 40 minutes of racing, there is Terrien, the race leader, with his headlights on. And the situation after those 40 minutes of racing in SR1, it's Terrien leading from Luke Berger, Filiberti, Nielsen and Angelo Zadra. Following Marco's pit stop in lights, it's Massimo Monti from Owen Mildenhall, Giuseppe Peroni, Bruno Corradi and Peter Owen. Randaccio has just pitted. 45 minutes now into the Sports Racing World Cup Round 9, where Massimo Monti still leads lights. In the pit lane, Maribaldi's R&M Riley and Scott is still being worked upon. As at the other end of the pits, new race leader David Terrien is just about to make his first pit stop. In he comes. Terrien stays in the car. He's going to be double stinting. Car's refueled. They're happy with their tyres and they stay on too. Linos in the factory Tampoli, about to be lapped by Randaccio, currently 6th in lights. Oh, Linos is so excited by that, he spins. Garmin out Grande Courbe, where Dutchman Klaas Vaart surveys his Ascari after spinning out of second place into the gravel. Another disappointment for the new team. All this means that David Terrien, still on board the JMB Gator Ferrari, now has a healthy 35-second lead. Mark Smithson, feeling better but lighter, as he put it, takes over the 63 Redmond Bright Pilbeam, a crucial race for the Donington Park base team. But the car has lost 4th gear, and Mark is going to have to live with that. Up front, Filiberti and Marco Zadra still close for second place. Both have pitted, both have stayed in their cars, and they've just taken up where they left off before the pit stops. Zadra's pushing hard. Oh, and a big lock-up there. Very big lock-up. Down into Lycée. Argentine Nicolas Filiberti doing a great job in the car. He'll be handing over later to Gianni Lavaggi. Well, Massimo Monti still has a comfortable lights lead before he will be handing over to Renato Nibili. Further back, Nielsen is still struggling for grip despite the change of tyre make, and running in a lonely 4th place. He's about to lap the BMS Ferrari of SR1 Spa winner Enzo Calderari. all the time, David Terrien consolidating his lead. Overkill from the champions. Well, virtually all the first round of pit stops are over now. All that is, except for the lights PIR Deborah BMW. 1999 World Cup Barcelona and Brno winner Mark Rostan, who's handing over in his late stop to Florida domiciled Italian Ludovico Manfredi. French-run BMW car gets back into the action. Mark Smithson, meanwhile, has the Redmond Bright Pilbeam in the groove now, moved up to third place. And he's just been passed by the SR1 second place battle between Filiberti and Marco Zadra. The Durango GMS driver Sohail Ari goes grass cutting at Adelaide on the circuit at which he won the 1996 French Formula 3 Championship. And still the second place battle rages. Argentine Nicolas Filiberti and Italian Marco Zadra. 23-year-old son of teammate Angelo, both looking for their first wins. Both have had second places this year. Oh, a spin there for British Supersports driver John Grant in the Roy Baker Project 2000 Pilbeam at Adelaide, but he continues no harm, no loss of place. Ian Flux also pushing hard out on the circuit. Oh, off he goes, runs wide at Grand Courbe. Early race problems have put the Lights Rapier 6 down into 9th place, but Fluxy, who's a veteran of British touring car, Formula 3 and sports car racing, is making up time. Sadly, a broken drive shaft will soon end the car's race. Well, the battle for second overall is hotting up again. Marco Zadra looking for a way round Filiberti, but again the diminutive Argentinian resists. Plenty of door shutting going on around the circuit. And Nürburgring Lights winner Massimo Sacamano is now at the wheel of the Audizio and Benvenuto Lucchini. Regular partner Roberto Tonetti missing this race through business commitments. The car is currently running in 4th place. Second round of pit stops coming up, and Filiberti dives for the pits. Philippe Pater has already stopped. He's in pit lane. They're passed by a comfortable 6th place running Durango GMS BMW of Ayari, who will be handing over to Andrea De Lorenzi. So both the Ferraris in the pit lane at the same time at 23 and 3 cars. Pater stays in the BMS ESP. Another shift. Martin Henderson and Owen Mildenhall have bought the back row starting EBRT Pilbeam up to second in lights. But a lap later he will spin down the order on dropped oil. Well, Manicourt winner of 99, Lavaggi takes over the GLV Brooms car under the watchful eye of team manager Achim Stroff, who gave the team a tactical victory here in the wet last year. Azor Felipe Ortiz spins a Conrero Riley and Scott into the gravel terminally. Both Conrero cars are now out. In the pits, 2000 co-champion Christian Pescatori waits to take over the number 1 JMB Ferrari from double shifting Terrien. Jean-Michel Bourech's team swings into its Formula 1 style drill for the driver change. And although a jammed wheel nut causes a minor panic, it loosens and Pesca will rejoin, still in the lead. Pater passes the pits after a slow outlap. Some gear selection problem. And Lavaggi has passed him for second. Raffaele Raimondi, 6th in lights. The Nürburgring Lights podium finishers Martino Piccio BMW about to be passed by the flying Pater. But he's going to have to play catch up now with Lavaggi. Gear selection problem obviously behind him now. Car back up to full speed. And he's going to have to close that gap on the Italian in the number 3 GLV Brooms Ferrari. 23 Red Bull Ferrari of Pater in 3rd. John Nielsen in 4th in SR1, handing over the Dembla Arvis Penoz to fellow Dane Kasper Elgaard. Kasper's manager, Father Peter, there in the white shirt, looks on. Well, undeterred by spin, John Grant is back on the limit through Estoril in the Project 2000 Pilbeam. As lights leader Renato Nibili makes the pits for a splash and dash in the BM Tampoli Alfa Romeo. Also back in the pits, Svart and the Ascari after being pulled out of the gravel, but their race is finished. Pescatori, betting in his new Pirellis, can afford to cruise as the JMB Geyser Ferrari's now got a 50-second lead, looking for its 4th consecutive victory of the year 2000. Situation normal here at Manicourt. So the standings after 1 hour 30 minutes of this 2.5-hour race. Pescatori leading from Lavaggi, from Pater, from Elgaard and from Lilian Brinner. She's now on board the BMS Scuderia Italia Ferrari 22. In lights, Nibili from Randaccio, from Mark Smithson in 3rd, looking for that title, Martin Henderson and Sakimano. Join us after the break. We are back at Manicourt, where 2nd place Gianni Lavaggi is just lapping the R&M Riley and Scott of Swiss Andrea Chiesa, which has returned to the race after alternator repairs, but is 12 laps down. It's not easy to pass him, though. Former Formula 3000 driver Chiesa making that Riley and Scott very, very wide. This, of course, slightly delaying Lavaggi, who's got Pater chasing him. Well, Jason Watt is back in after a double stint and hands the Dembla Arvis Penoz over to team sponsor Carsten Ray. Into the wheelchair. Good job done this afternoon by the paralysed Danish driver. As his team boss gets into the car. Hand controls what has to use, while Ray uses the conventional controls. Well, 3rd place, Philip Pater, carving through the lights traffic as he's trying to catch Lavaggi, who's 10 seconds ahead, just out of sight on the road. Well, the 99 PIR Deborah team now has team owner Pierre Brunet at the wheel. He's lapped by Mark Smithson, who after Randaccio's final stop is now back to 2nd place, on target for that lights title this afternoon. This will be a famous moment for the British team. Smithson as quick as ever. Well, behind the Deborah and Pilbeam is overall race leader Pescatori. Victoria really sliding the back end of that Ferrari around. Gianni Lavaggi having his work cut out this afternoon in 2nd place. already been delayed once by Chiesa, now he's delayed again by Pier Giuseppe Peroni. These lights cars indecently quick through the corners. That delays Lavaggi a little bit more, giving Pater a chance to close up even more. Carsten Ray runs wide at Chateau d'Eau. While watching his mirrors at Adelaide, Gianni Giudici, hero of the Alfa Romeo DTM squad, waves past Lavaggi, the Martini Picchio driver, helping his fellow Italian. But it's Austrian Pater who's determined he is going to have that second place. He is on a charge, just as we saw at Nürburgring. Renato Nibili now has a 20-second lead over Smithson. He's looking good for the BM Autosport Tampoli's first World Cup win in lights. And Kaspar Elgaard, who's still running fourth, after taking the Paynos over from John Nielsen, comes up to lap Massimo Perazzo, who's taken over the SCI Lucchini from Randaccio. Oh, overcautious, the Italian drives onto the grass. And a final stop for Pesca. Splash and dash, he's got a 1-minute lead. And he can rejoin with a comfortable cushion over Lavaggi and Pater. Palmer Audi racer and 1997 British Formula Vauxhall Junior Vice Champion Richard Lyons about to be engulfed by the fight for second place. There is Lavaggi, there is Pater. He is really on a charge now, almost straight lining the chicane in his haste to catch the GLB Brooms Ferrari. Elgaard in a lonely fourth place, just where he and John Nielsen finished at a wet Nürburgring. The Michelins have given them no advantage, it seems, over their previous Pirellis. The problems are all with the rear end of the car and its aerodynamics. Lyons again on the limit. Clipping the grass at Grand Courbe. Brave move at 250 kilometers an hour. And all this time, Pescatori continues serene and untroubled. The title already his since Nürburgring. This win, though, would net the JMB team the team's title with one race still to go. That in South Africa, Kyalami at the end of November. Oh, Lilian Bruno took over the BMS Scuderia Italia Ferrari from Pan Enzo Colruyt at the final stop. He's caught in traffic and spins at Chateau d'Eau. The Swiss Miss, winner of SR1 at Spa, recovers to keep fifth and a 100% finishing record. But Lavaggi still being hauled in by Pater. The gap is now down to 3 seconds. But has the Austrian left it all too late? He's pushing as hard as he can. Through Chateau d'Eau. Lavaggi through the chicane into Lycée. Oh, and Peter locking up into that final right-hander. But Christian Pescatori negotiates just the final few turns to score JMB's 5th win of the year and the team's title. It's his and Terrien's 4th successive victory, equaling 99 champions Collard and Suspiri's record. Checkered flags ready. Commentators are wound up, and Little Italian crosses the line, where he celebrates with a burnout over the finish. Lavaggi and Pater flash across the line, separated by just 1.6 seconds after 2.5 hours of racing, to take second and third on the podium. Well, there's Results of the lights battle, Nobilium Monti winning after 89 laps by just 6.7 seconds from Owen and Smithson, Corradi and Sacamano, completing the podium in the Addizione Benvenuto Lucchini on 88 laps. The graphic, lights points, Owen and Smithson champions on 108 from Sacamano, Nicolas Lavalentonetti, Frank Cioni and Ronca, 6th place, and BJ Zacharias down in 8th. Redmond Bright also winning the team's championship from Tampoli Engineering, Audizione Benvenuto Lucchini and EBR T. Schroeder. The following weekend. SR1 results, Terrian and Pescatori, 95 laps, winning by 40 seconds from Filiberti and Lavaggi and 42 seconds from Zadra and Pater for BMS Scuderia Italia Ferrari. Points then, Terrian and Pescatori already champions in Nürburgring now, 127 points over Calderari, Brunner and Zadra 66. Zadra, Marco and Pater 62 and Maribaldi 51. So that battle is still on for the runner-up position. In the teams, JMB Geyser take the title from BMS Scuderia Italia and Dembla Arvis.
It could have won the GT title at Snetterton, but it wasn't to be. Leading